Hello guys, welcome back. This video is gonna be longer than usual because we're gonna go over a whole slew of things, starting from getting a new domain, configuring spam and everything, up all the way down to Federation, and make sure everything is working fine. So I'll give you a brief background. What happened was I used to have a domain in my previous environment that I no longer use anymore. Well, the environment crashed because of some power outages. So I'm going to configure that email to go to my new environment. And what I'm going to start off with, I'm going to be jumping through multiple servers, so just make sure you keep track. So first thing I'm going to start off with is with an external server. And I don't know what this is. I'm going to close it. And I'm going to, first I'm going to set up my spam filter so I can set up my DNS records for that. And today, because I keep changing depending on the weather, this is what I'm using for my spam filtering. So I'm just gonna go ahead. The new domain. Should I be keeping track of notes? Yeah. The new domain I'm gonna work with today is gonna be sivs.com, and my destination. Uh, what's that IP? Well, let's get back to dashboard. And it wants me to verify, so I'll copy that out. I'll jump onto my external DNS server. And I'll do just record for that. Then I'll jump back to my external here. And I'll give it a few minutes for it to go through this thing. I can just jump, let's see, come back here. Sometimes it needs to go out. Jump back in there, do a refresh. Let's give it a few more minutes. Alright, I'll go ahead and refresh again. Okay, so it looks like my domain has been verified. So what I do now here is I copied out the MX record, jump back to my external, and I'll nuke this too because I no longer use Komodo. The good thing about owning your own external DNS is that you can do stuff like so then you can come in here and just confirm that that is actually yep. So we've finally we've set up IMS record for this. So what we're gonna do is because I'm on the free one, I would need to actually specify some email address. So this is what I'm gonna specify here. Now to confirm that it's working, I'm gonna briefly send an email to that address. Even though it's not yet configured in Exchange, I just wanted to see that it's actually getting picked up by the spam filter. So I've gone ahead and shoot that email in the background. While that is coming through, and since I have my external DNS server open, the next thing I'm going to do is just try to verify this domain for Office 365, because I'm also going to use that. So let's bring that up. So this is my test Office 365 portal. As you can see, I do not have any licenses, so it's basically just for testing. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into the domain section here. And I'm going to go ahead and add the new domain that we are working with. And I'm going to copy this one out so I can verify. Jump back in here. And I'm going to do a new .tx record. Paste that in there. Done. Jump back to my Office 365. And my account has been verified. I'm going to skip all this at this point. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to add a new user, so I'm going to go skip this also. And I'm going to go next. Saying if I want to transfer my DNS management to Office 365, I said no. Currently, since I don't have any licenses and everything, I don't want to do any of this, so I'm not going to bother with it right now. And my domain is set. Just a quick moment here. The reason why I set up this domain is because my system is set up to synchronize with Office 365, and for it to work correctly, I need to have that domain up here in Office 365 so that the synchronization will go smoothly. So once I'm done with that, I will need to I think all my external stuff are done, so now I need to set up my internal stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into my internal system, and I'm gonna jump into Active Directory. What is it? Domain and trust. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Well, that is also coming up. Let's go ahead and just bring up Active Directory users on computers. So in here, the domain, Active Directory domain and trust, I'm just going to do one thing. Oh, no, that's not what I want. This is what I want. I'm just going to go ahead and add to the list of my UPN suffix. Okay, then that's it. I'm going to close it. I have 2 of these open, so I only need 1. Then I'm just going to do my structure like I normally do. I'm just going to put in a new, under users, I'm going to put in a new OU. And this is just for my own planning and organization. So, and while I'm here, I'll just do a new user so that I don't have to come back in here. And my user is going to be and I'm going to give it a domain office. Give it a password. And I'm done with that for now. The next step, I'm going to go ahead and jump over to, well, actually, I'm going to do it since I'm on Office 365. I'm going to do it from an external server. I'm going to my Exchange environment. And the reason why I'm jumping on an external server, I could have done localhost on one of my CAS, but I have actually set up single sign-on for it using Federation. So it's a little bit, sorry, yeah, using Federation. So it's a little bit tricky using that from a local host. So it's always better to do it from an external either way. So I'll log on to my Exchange environment. And the first thing I will do, since it's setting up a new domain, is going to the mail flow section, since that's what I'm going to be configuring. And I want to add an accepted domain, since it's a new domain, as you well know. And I'll go ahead and add it. Let's say, I'll just give it the same name. And I'll make it authoritative. Okay, and the next step is also for my organization. Also, I like to make everything speak and span. I have different rules for different folders. So what I'm going to do is add a new address policy. tell it for this policy is for that domain, and tell the kind of the format I want. So I'll say I'll have to only do this for, and I'll set a filter. Let's see. Set a rule, and I want it to be recipient of setting container. So I'll go over it in short for you. So what I'm telling this thing is I'm setting up a policy that so for anybody that's in my SIVS folder in AD will get this address if they decide to get an email. This has to be set up in the email system. This is the address they'll get. So let's go ahead and save that. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Mail enable user. Yep, users with Exchange mailbox. Sorry, forgot to check that one. Okay. I click on that and I click on apply. So that would apply it if there's any user currently in there. And we're done with that section of it. Next, I'm just going to go ahead and well, while we're in here, I'm just going to go ahead and set up a receive connector for that. For my spam filter. I already have one that I set up for the other domain. So what I'm going to do is just verify if it's the same IP. So I'll jump back to some tests that I did here. And so this is the IP address for my mail servers. So I'll do this. Actually, let me open that up first. Not you. So these are the IPs from my mail server. As you can see, they're already in there. So I really don't have to set up a new receive connector for that. So I think once I have an account, it's all using the same IP addresses for mail flow. So I'm good there. So my next step here, since the receive connector is all in place, is to let's close out of this. Is to jump onto back to recipient here, and let's go ahead and new user mailbox, existing user, browse, and I'm gonna look for the new user I created, which is this one. Say okay, and I'm just gonna go ahead and hit save. And that would automatically create a new user for me with this email address here, and let's open that up. Just to confirm that see, this is my UPN, which is what I set in AD. Now UPN is completely different from email address. So I have my UPN here, which was set up in AD, and I'll go down to my email address and confirm that my email address is the same thing. Perfect. Go ahead and cancel out of that. Alright, now let me go back and check and see. Let's do spam filter. Looks like my test failed because, oh, Yeah. So let me go ahead and send another test. And I'll say this one is test 2. And I'll send that out. Okay, so that was sent. And it looks like it was delivered. So let me jump back to my Exchange here. So what I'll do now is, let's see, since I have this open in the private view, I'll open up a new browser. This time I'll go to OWA. Don't panic, forgot my S. Okay, once in OWA, it will redirect me to my ADFS, and I'm going to use my new address. And that would log me in, and as you can see, I sent it from my Gmail account and is hitting my new mailbox. And to complete a mail flow, let's just go ahead and reply. Say, got it. Thanks. And I'll send. And I'll just wait to receive it. Okay, looks like I just received it. I'll open that up. And I'll bring it over to the other screen. There you go. This is my Gmail account and the mail is in there. Okay, once we've successfully confirmed that the new mail flow is working, now we need to move on to other things. Well, since the domain is my whole environment is already set, everything is set up for ADFS, so I don't need to do that. As you notice, when I logged in, it takes me to my ADFS page. I'm just going to do that again one more time. CPS or see, this is my ADFS page. It's not really the Outlook page, so I don't need to do anything concerning Federation there because it's already set up for the environment. Any new domain you add or any new mailbox will automatically just work with Federation. What I'm going to confirm now is to make sure that my domain is actually syncing to Office 365. Which one is this? This is it. I'll go to active users and run through the list. So that is not syncing yet. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and push the process. So let's do a metaverse search and let's just dump everything we have on the metaverse here. It's not that much. So my new account is not yet in the metaverse. So what I'll need to do is go back here, and I want to run this one, which, since I have a small environment, it doesn't matter. I could run an import. Yeah, let's do full import and sync. So this is not recommended if you have a large organization with thousands of users. Mine is pretty small. It takes about less than a minute to do all that, and it should be back here. Well, it's trying to prove me wrong. It's taking more than a minute. You can see the numbers changing. Let's tell you that everything is working. And it's done. Now I'll show you a trick here. So if I come back here to the search, my new one is there. If I open it up, see everything that was syncing. And if I check the Azure, we'll be saying ready to export. Yep, so it's ready to send it over to the cloud. I can come here and close that out. And I can jump back to my other agent. And I could I could just do an export since that's what it really needs. Yeah, let's just do an export, maybe faster. Do an export. Should take a second or two. There it goes again, trying to prove me wrong. Okay, so it's done. Let's go back here just for kicks, check it. Go to connectors and confirm that the cloud connector is also. Why is it waiting for export? I thought we just did an export. Oh, export confirmation. You know what? This is why I always don't like playing around with this thing. Let's just go here. Not you. Now everything's gonna crash. Let's do a run. Okay, so it needs a confirmation. We can either do this one here, or we can do this. Let's still do the full import. So when he exports it out, it needs to get a confirmation that it's good. It's good in the cloud. So let's just do everything. Now, you have to be aware that full sync is something you want to stay away from. If your organization is huge, maybe do it once every 2 weeks or once every month over the weekend. But like I said, this is a small organization. Well, it's a small test environment, so I pretty much can do whatever I feel like doing. Perfect. So this is all synced up. So now I'm going to go ahead and jump back into here. Then I'm just going to do a refresh. And there we go. It's synced with the cloud. Now I do this just in case I do get licenses. I want to move some mailbox over. It's easy once everything is already set up. So now at this point, I'm gonna go do a little bit of Cloud Federation. I'll show you a quick demo. When I wanted to log into my OR for the new domain, it was a local ADFS Federation. And now, let's see, just the best way to show you is I'm going to close all this. And browser in private mode. So if I do, which is my new domain that's synced with Office 365, nothing happens. If I decide to use another one of my domains, that's also synced with Office 365, it redirects me to my internal ADFS page because that domain is federated. So what I'm going to do now, let's see, so I'm going to go ahead and let me just go ahead and log in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give this user some limited permissions because let's just say service administrator. Let's see if this will work. Alright, so I've given that user service administrator. Now I'm going to try, what I'm going to do is I'm going to federate this domain so that the same thing happens. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and sign out here. And then we're going to close the browsers because tokens are very complicated things to work with. I'm going to go back there. And I'm going to log on with this one. See, I'm in. That's that account up here. See, notice? But that didn't redirect me like the other one did. So I'm gonna that's because the account is not federated. So what I'm gonna do is, since I have everything synced, user syncing fine and everything, I'm gonna sign out of here and I'm gonna close this browser. Then I'm gonna jump on into my internal ADFS server. I'm gonna bring up PowerShell. Let me see, get ADFS. I hope I don't have to. Yeah, I do. Or do I? Oh, nope, it's there. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'm going to log into my internal ADFS server. And what I actually need to do, this is the tricky part. Now, I'm on my ADFS server, but I also have to connect. Where's my connection? What I need to do is actually connect to, I thought I had a connection set up here, but I guess I didn't. So I'll just do it manually. I'm just getting lazy. I'll do a connect MSOL. I need to connect to my online, and I'll use any one of my account that has global admin params. Um, Incorrect password. Let's try that again. I might have the username wrong. Oh yeah, it's actually test. Yep, there we go. Did have that wrong. These usernames are all too many, which is why I normally do a connection on my machine, so I just double click and get connected. So we're here. It looks like we get connected okay. So what I'm going to do is get MSOL domain. Alright, and you can see all my domain that I have with Office 365, and two of them is federated. Now, since I am on my ADFS machine, okay, I can just do something like convert domain to federated, and let's see, domain name. Just like putting this one, support multiple. Yep. And if you're paranoid, oh, and you see there's a what if there, always do a what if. And let's see what it says. It said it will convert that domain to federated. So let's go one step up and take out the what if and let it rip. Woohoo! So my domain was successfully updated. Let's see. So if we do the same thing, get MSOL domain 3 federated domain. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is jump back to my external, and I'm going to bring up a browser. Oops, and I'm going to do it in private mode. Go to portal. I'm going to use this one that we just get federated. Oops. HHZELEY and do tab. Bam. You can see it redirects me into my internal ADFS. And let's make sure that it's working. I log in. And I'm in as my new domain. So basically, this recording covers everything from scratch, scratch, from one end to the other, depending on how you want to call it. So I got a domain. I set up a spam filter. I set up it in my DNS records, and I've validated in Office 365. I set up my internal AD structure for that domain. I set up an Exchange mailbox, and I forced the sync up to the Office 365, and then I federated the Office 365 with that domain. In a nutshell, that's where you prepare an environment for Office 365 or hybrid environment or whatever you name it. Well, that's the end of my recording. Thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a good day.